Qul Alahiym Mishpacha. Welcome to Qul Alahiym, Voice of Mighty Ones. I am Rab Yakir Al, and we continue our current series simply entitled Amet, which is truth. As we discussed in the part 1, truth about Shabbat, when you consider the Hebrew language, whether it be a 3-letter root, as you see on the board, or a 4-letter root, which we'll see a little later, all of which stems from a 2-letter parent root. In this case, the word Amet, which is spelled Aleph, Mem, Dal, has a parent root of Aleph, and this is the Proto-Sinaitic or pictographic form, which is an ox head and symbolizes strength. And likewise, the Dal, which is simply a mark. So when you put the two together, you have strength and a mark, or in other words, a strong sign, which simply teaches that Amet, or truth itself, is a strong sign. Today, we discuss truth about holy days. Let's begin in Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 1, with verse 14, which reads, "And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs." First and foremost, keep that in mind. One of the things that you will discover as you study the Word of the Most High, order, and we're about to take a look at that term, order of succession is very important. And the reason why this particular emphasis is being made is because regarding the lights in the firmament, the first thing that he says they would be for are signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. Let's go down to verse 16, which continues. "And Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also." So let's take a look now at the term lights. The Hebrew term that we see here this term is pronounced ma'or, okay? You find this number 39, 74 of your Strongs. Now, as we discussed, and what it simply means is luminary, okay? Or a luminous body. Now, the parent root that forms the foundation of the term ma'or is your Aleph, which is your ox head, and your Resh, which is with the modern form instead of the pictograph. Fix that up for you. Okay. Okay, you have your ox head and your head of man. Now when you put these two thoughts together, again, whenever you deal with the parent roots, which are based on the two letters, you have to consider the letter itself, what it is, and the totality of how it can function. Now when you think about an ox, as we discussed in the word prior, Ahmet, it simply means strength or power. Now the fact that you have it connected with the head of man, okay, what that shows is a strong head or a strong leader. Now think about the term order, okay? In order for, quote unquote, order to be established, it is necessary that you have a strong leader. Now the way that the Creator symbolizes this by creating great lights in the heavens. And when you look at the sun and the moon and the stars, there is an order that we see, that we learn from their observance, which we'll be getting into. That is very important to understand when it comes to the holy days that the Most High has prescribed for humanity. Now, the order, in addition to looking at the luminary, is also shown forth by light, or as again, luminary, luminous body. So we want to take a look at some things so we can understand the system that has been established in our universe. And once we get through this, what we hope to see, Most High willing, is the beauty of His creation. So now, let's do this. This here is going to be the sun. You want to understand something, okay? And of course you have the rays of light from the sun. Okay? Now this here, this is going to be the earth. Alright? Now what happens, this is our west, this is east. Okay? Now what happens in regards to how a day is determined? The earth, it's on a tilt. It's on an axis. Okay? Also, you can divide it. You have northern hemisphere and you have the southern hemisphere. Okay? But the earth slowly turns around. And it turns towards the east. So that half of the earth is always illuminated by the power of the sun. And the side that is facing the sun, this is where you have day. And the side that's not facing the sun is where you have night. Okay? Now we want to look at a few things. Again, a day is determined by the revolving earth. As it turns toward the east, it appears as if the sun is rising. As the sun passes to the west, it appears as if it sets. This takes 24 hours to complete. One day. So let's take a look at what the Bible teaches in regards to that. In Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 1, starting at verse 5, it says, "And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And evening," so what that shows now, this is the beginning of that 24-hour period. The daylight, all right? And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, contrary to what we're familiar with, what we're going to see, we're going to reference Daniel 7:25 again, because we're talking about the holy days. what we're going to see, based on the word of the Most High, there were never any names attached to the days of the week. I was about to say the work week. But it says, in the evening and the morning was the first day. In the Hebrew, what that would say is, Iyum Achad. In verse 8 it states, and Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day, or in the Hebrew, Iyum Sheni. In verse 13, and the evening and the morning were the third day, or Iyum Shalishi. So what you had basically being set up, you have first day, second day, third day, and he goes on, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. That is how the days of the week were determined. But let's compare it now to what we're normally familiar with. The first day of the week is currently referred to as Sunday, which if you define that, it means the venerable day of the sun. Monday is the venerable day of the moon. Tuesday is the day of Tiwaz, which is the god of war and law, and it is associated with the Roman deity Mars. Wednesday is the day of Woden, which is the god of merchandise and trade, and corresponds to the Roman deity Mercury. Thursday is the day of Thor, which is the god of thunder, and again corresponds to the Roman deity Jupiter. Friday is the day of Frigg, who is the goddess wife of Woden, and Saturday is the day of Saturn, which is the god of agriculture. Now, that being said, what we see is that in our designation for the days of the week, we are actually giving honor to pagan gods or goddesses. This is in alignment with what Daniel 7:25 says. But we're going to take a look at some other things. Keep those thoughts in mind. If you don't mind, I'm going to erase this and we're going to take another look at it in a whole other perspective. So that's how we get our day. Now, we want to again look at it differently. So, this here in the middle, this is going to be the sun. Okay? Now what the earth does, this is going to be the earth. Okay? Now, while the earth is rotating on its axis, okay, and again, while it's facing the sun, you have the day, and the part that's not facing the sun, that's where you have your night. So, as that's going on, simultaneously, the earth also moves or orbits the sun.